Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be listening to a couple of interesting stories, including one about an entitled mother-in-law who insists her daughter-in-law wear a wedding dress she recommends rather than what the daughter-in-law wants. Sit back, relax and enjoy. First story. Am I the idiot for sending my son to school with less food and explicitly telling him not to share with his best friend? This situation began a year ago and blew up in our faces last week. My son Gregory is 13 years old. He just began the 8th grade. His friend, Peter, is also 13 and began the 8th grade too. Gregory and Peter have been friends since elementary school. Last year, I noticed that Gregory would be ravenously hungry after school every day. He would come home and eat a frozen dinner or something, and then help himself to seconds at dinner time. I chalked this up to him being a 12-year-old boy and let it be. Something about the situation was nagging at me though, and while Gregory wasn't clear about why at first, he eventually came clean. Peter was sent to school every day with no lunch. It looks to me like a typical case of neglectful and unfit parents. The one time that Gregory went to their house, he came home with comments about it smelling really bad and his Peter's parents locking themselves in the garage for hours. Feeling bad for Peter, I decided to discreetly begin giving Gregory more food every day, just about doubling all his food. Over time I became less discreet and began packing a separate lunch for Peter. I was never thanked for this by anyone, but I knew Peter was eating the food I sent. This year, things are different. Money is tighter for personal reasons and frankly, with how expensive things are, I have decided not to spend exorbitant amounts of money supporting someone else's child. I sat Gregory down and told him that I would be packing him one lunch which is for him and him alone. I made it extremely clear. Do not share with anyone, and this includes Peter. Gregory followed my instructions until one day last week I got a phone call from Peter's mother. She was livid that I had cut Peter off without a single word. I asked her when it became my responsibility to feed her son, and she responded that if she had known I wasn't sending Gregory to school with too much food, she would have handled it herself. I asked if she remembered why I began sending him to school with 2 lunches in the first place and she hung up on me. I feel conflicted. I know I'm having my kindness thrown back in my face, but did I approach this situation incorrectly? The top comments. I'm thinking you are about 50/50 here. Understandably, you can't take on the burden of feeding Peter. But you didn't mention that you contacted anyone at the school and made them aware of this situation. They have people who deal with this type of situation. That's the part of you that is you are the idiot. I was thinking you are the idiot for not having reported this to CPS already, but the school administration would be a good plan too. Especially when original poster's son said the friend's parents locked themselves in the garage for hours. I was like, are they doing drugs in there? For sure. That's not a good environment for a child. Second reply. I hate to say you are the idiot in this situation, but you are. Not for how you handled the mother, but because as far as Peter himself knows, you did cut him off, without a word. He's the only one who's suffered here. And while you're correct that it's not technically your responsibility, and your family absolutely needs to come first in terms of tighter finances, for any reason, yes, you did handle this incorrectly. Second story. Am I the idiot for giving my sister the rules on raising a teenage daughter? I've 4 daughters and I'm 45 meters. Was on my own since my late wife, God rest her, would lose her battle to cancer. My 25F, 22F, 18F, 15F daughters, even the 2 who have left home, still stick to my rules even to this day. Recently my sister, whose teenage daughter has been giving her a bit of bother with being rebellious, asked me at a family event what was my secret, so I told her my rules. 1. Birth control is healthcare, so are period products. If dads are not ashamed to get their teeth pulled, the pill or pads aren't something you should be ashamed about either. 2. Dad's a Catholic but you don't have to, but we respect all faiths in this home. 3. Clothes aren't the problem, creeps are. 4. Regardless of time or how drunk you are, dad will always pick you up, no questions asked or punishments. 5. If they make you feel uncomfortable, they're not welcome in this home. 6. I don't care if you are gay or straight, just no age gaps on. This depends on each daughter's age. Point 7. Your mental health is more important than grades or chores. Never feel ashamed to take a day or ask for help. 8. Dad can dress up as Rick Grimes' version or Tinker Bell and play crazy at any time when you need it. 9. If someone comes to you with something, you keep that to yourself till it's public. 10. Hair grows back. Do what you want with it, but tattoos don't. Take 3 months of thinking about it before you get 1.11. Your father loves you no matter what, so if you've done something you think is wrong, come to him for help and advice. Well, even though I said I've got a great relationship with my girls and they're doing good in life, I was told I'm a bad father and it's my girls' fault. Their cousins have been having issues with embracing Western culture. I've had a lot of problems and backlash in my community. That's why I'm turning to strangers for help. The replies. Not the idiot. The title was a little misleading though. Lol. Your sister asked for your secret to the successful relationship with your daughters. Literally asked. Perhaps her anger is the protection of her own failures as a mother, whether actual or imagined. You've set out great rules in order to make your daughters feel safe coming to you with their issues, promoted positivity in a work that believes men plus menstruation equals taboo, and given them a healthy respect for themselves, their health, mental health, feeling confident in saying no. Honestly, it's incredible, and you should absolutely be proud of yourself and your daughters for such a healthy outlook on life. Your sister needs to chill and stop blaming you and your rules for what has happened with her daughter. Like it or not, children are a product of their environment, and while you can argue nature versus nurture, she has to accept the responsibility that her daughter didn't feel safe enough to talk with her about her intimacy before pregnancy. Keep being a brilliant dad, and don't let your sister's negativity change who you are. That's her issue. Second reply. Not the idiot. Your rules sound quite reasonable for any woman, and actually most sound great for any human. And nowhere have you said that you said your sister had to get her daughter to follow the rules. You just said what you had found worked for your family. I am confused as to how your girls are harming their cousins' attempts at embracing Western culture. The original poster replies. My sister's daughter is pregnant by a trans female. God bless both of them, wishing the best. And my sister assumed and got my family to believe it was mine and my daughter's director Ty lifestyle that led her daughter down the wrong path. Third story. Am I the idiot for ditching my friend's wedding after she removed me as a bridesmaid and wanted me to sub for the photographer? Aila, 26/F, was set to be a bridesmaid in my friend Deidre's, 26/F, wedding. She had 5 bridesmaids in total including me. We met in high school and moved back to our mutual hometown area a few years later. I'm 6 feet 1 inch and my nickname has always been Big Bird, while the other girls and Deidre are about 5 feet 4 inches to 5 feet 6 inches or so. I have a Nikon DSLR and have always liked to casually take pictures for my social media, which I did of all of us in the time leading up to the wedding. On the day of the wedding, the paid photographer Jenny was on site at Deidre's massive church but was sick. She said she'd eaten something that didn't agree with her, that she could power through, and she'd done COVID tests so it wasn't that, but ultimately she had to leave. Shortly after she left and before we were supposed to head toward the sanctuary, Deidre asked me to walk around the perimeter of the church to make sure that the entrances were all labeled and that no one was lost, so I did that in my dress and tennis shoes and made it back in about 15 minutes. By the time I got back into the bridal suite, it was nearly time to head into the foyer. As I walked in, everyone was quiet and staring at me. Deidre's fiancé's sister, Ashley, who hadn't been sure if she could make the wedding, was there as well. Deidre said that since Jenny was gone they didn't have a wedding photographer. She wanted me to give my bridesmaid dress to Ashley and take photos with my Nikon since no one wanted to just have pictures on their iPhones. Everybody swarmed me and started helping me out of my dress, pulling the rhinestone combs out of my hair, and Deidre took back the bridesmaid gift of the matching Tiffany bracelet we were wearing during the wedding to put on Ashley. Everyone said that this was a much better plan and started hyping up my photography skills. They were also saying this would be great because the wedding party would look uniform now, and the moms were saying that it would be great to include all the family girls as bridesmaids. Deidre said that I would be able to eat after everyone else and that she wasn't sure where Ashley had been sitting for dinner, but it wouldn't matter because I wouldn't need to sit down anyway. This was all very rushed and I didn't have time to think, but I was immediately pretty hurt by the demand that I will be responsible for not only the wedding photography for free but that everyone was implying that I'd make pictures look weird if I was in them and that I'd be okay with not having a seat at all or the chance to eat. I told Deidre that I wasn't a professional photographer and that I didn't know what I was doing, but she just kept saying, "You'll do great, and I'm sure it'll be good." While everyone continued to get ready, I packed up all my stuff, said that I had to take it out to my car, then drove home. Am I the idiot? The top comments. Not the idiot. You were literally uninvited to the wedding and forced into being an unpaid employee instead. The description of them helping you out of your dress brings to mind the scene in Disney's Cinderella when her stepsisters tear her dress off and leave her in rags. I hope it didn't feel like that when they did that to you. That was just horrible. The original poster replies. Thanks. It didn't feel that bad, but it didn't feel good. I was just shocked and, at the time, I felt like I needed to pitch in or make it work somehow because I was in problem-solving mode. Then as we kept going and Deidre kept explaining what she wanted me to do, alternating with everyone's compliments, made me feel hurt. It was also kind of weird being the only one undressed while they were looking at me, but I got my own clothes on quickly. Not the idiot and F them. They are not your friends. Friends wouldn't dream of doing what they did to you. I would have left too, and probably also without a word. Telling the bride would probably have led to another swarm and a lot of drama. Going from bridesmaid to unpaid staff without a seat or a meal. F that. Besides, they let you down first. Deirdre didn't even ask. She and your friends tried to railroad you so Ashley, who turned up last minute, could replace you. If people are giving you grief via text or SM, don't feel bad about blocking them. They suck. Hugs. To you. What they did was despicable and underhanded. You deserve better friends. Everyone is the idiot. Who paid for the dress? As I understand things now, it seems that the bridesmaids tend to pay. Did you? Fourth story. Am I the idiot for my reaction when I learned that my fiancé returned my wedding dress and replaced it with the one his mom picked for me? My fiancé, male 33, and I, female 28, are getting married in December. His mom is the intrusive type, but she's nice overall and we somewhat get along. I hate to admit that wedding planning has been an absolute nightmare. His mom wasn't willing to agree on most things, and my fiancé said that since he's her only son then I should respect and appreciate this vision she has for the wedding and how it should be. She insisted to come along for wedding dress shopping. I took her with me and my mom and friends. I was so lucky to have found what I was looking for. But she picked a dress that she liked so much and said that she always pictured her son's bride in it. Mom and friends thought this line was creepy. I thought the dress was somewhat creepy and totally not my type. I apologized and thanked her for her vision, but told her that I'd already decided on a dress that I had envisioned myself wearing at my wedding. She got all pissy because of it apparently, then must have told my fiancé because he came home in the evening ranting about how I made his mom upset and turned down her help in choosing the wedding dress and excluded her from the process. I asked, what process? Duh, it's just a wedding dress. My wedding dress, so I really didn't get how she should get a say at all. He got upset and said that this attitude of mine isn't working on him or his mom. He said that I should consider the dress his mom wanted me to buy, especially knowing that both dresses weren't that much different anyway, like she said, but I told him yes, they were different, like so much different. Anyways, we argued about it, then we dropped it. Yesterday I came home and found out that he had returned my wedding dress and replaced it with the one his mom wanted. I called him and he was straightforward about what he did and why he did it. I lost it and started screaming at him. He asked me to calm down and really give this dress a chance. I refused to even listen. I screamed at him without giving him a chance to speak. He got home and we had an argument. I then went to stay with one of my friends and he kept calling and calling then texting saying that I overreacted and it was his wedding too, so it wasn't cool how I screamed at him. He insisted I give this dress a chance. He went on and on about how his mom has a vision and good intentions and just wants what is best for me as her future daughter-in-law. Mom is livid and has been wanting to go scream at him and his mom, but my dad said that this isn't worth ruining my relationship with my in-laws. He suggested I wisen up and go with the flow, but is it too much for me to be able to pick my own wedding dress without being guilted about it just to keep the peace? Am I the idiot for my reaction? Questions and answers. I'm editing in some answers to frequent questions I get. The dress she picked wasn't all too crazy but just wasn't my type. This issue started during wedding planning and there were other things. Like way too many things we didn't agree on. But this vision has been there for quite a while. I am paying for the dress obviously. My fiance's dad is deceased. Also, his mom suffered from multiple health conditions. Has no daughters but one only son. He's persisting. The replies. Hand him the ring back. Say, I hope you get the wedding you and your mom have always hoped for. Walk away. Not the idiot. Original poster replies. I swear I'm gonna. Seriously. What is up with this vision she keeps throwing at me just to get her way? It's her only son, she says, so what? Do you own him, ma'am? I don't even know what that was supposed to mean. The commenter replies. Original poster. To your mother-in-law, you are not a person. You are an accessory that attaches to her son's arm. If your fiancé isn't willing to stand up for you and himself, you will have to get used to having her run your lives from here on out. You're not the idiot, but you kind of will be to yourself if you go through with a wedding without your fiancé on your side. This dynamic isn't something that's going to go away with the wedding. Even if you smooth over the current issue, or simply come to accept her choice, it will not be the end of this. Does mother-in-law want grandkids? Because that's going to be pretty important as soon as you're married. What are their names going to be? How do you feel about having mother-in-law in the hospital room while you give birth? How are you going to raise them? These are going to be her only grandkids, so be prepared to be eternally compromising in favor of what she wants. Your husband has already revealed where he places the relative importance of your opinion compared to his mother's. Even if you get him to grudgingly compromise on this issue, that order of relative importance won't change without some serious effort and explicit choice on his part. You need to GTFO of this relationship. Original poster before you anchor yourself to this mother-in-law for all time. I'm normally pretty cautious to jump on this bandwagon, but your fiancé immediately starts from the position that his mom should have more input on the effing wedding dress than the bride is so far into crazy town that I honestly don't see much hope for salvage.